playable.
Okay.
I would say Enchantress still has to watch out a lot. If you get a disrupt onto the Enchantress and you follow up with a call, and if you're a bit lucky with the spins, you need like 1-2 spins and Enchantress is still dead.
Yeah, she is very fragile, that's true. What's her base armor? It's pretty low, right? It's like 1 or something.
It's
So
pretty
X.
low.
It's quite low, as well as strength against very low. It's probably, it's the lowest in the game, I think.
I think she has 1.
You can call her from like half HP.
You just have a lot of movement speed on that hero.
Yeah.
Last pick coming out for 4 Anchors, where unless they are going to decide to do PL for whatever reason in the mid lane, this should be their mid lane grab. Anything standing out? Shadow Fiend is still there if they want to fall back for it. But outside of that, anything popping out? Okay, Shadow Fiend. There it is.
Now, the good news with picking Shadow Fiend here is that if the Enchantress doesn't run aggressively into the enemy jungle, or for whatever reason they can manage to zone her out.
Oh my, maybe they're just taking a little bit of that yellow submarine flavor here into
got
their
inspired.
first matchup.
But that is probably the scariest matchup for Shadow Fiend. 1 hook, even if you're behind, it is a kill, and it's a dandy punch here.
When's the last time we've seen Dendi on Pudge? People have been calling out for it for so long.
I feel like Pudge in the mid lane is better on Radiant than Dire, though. Like, the angles that you have and the general vision and the way you ward. I feel like when you're playing Radiant, you have, like, the way the cliff is shaped, that you go to the right and then you can hook across. That plays a lot easier on Radiant than Dire. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the mid lane, like, how it's built.
Yes.
I think Shadow Fiend in this is fairly safe. And if he feels intimidated, he can just go and farm the small camp as well. He just raises out, raises that, and I don't know. To me, Pudge mid is kind of a thing of the past, because this hero does not scale well with farm, in my opinion, unless you get really farmed. It's more about getting levels, and he could... You're right, it's risky for the Shadow Fiend. To me, it comes down to Enchantress entirely. This whole game is on art style.
I was going to say, what if Enchantress is going to be in the opponent jungle like we were expecting, and then
She
you
has
have
to
someone
do
to
that.
help out on the Shadow Fiend? That could provide a little bit of extra vision and kind of keep the Shadow Fiend moving all over the place. And if you can effectively zone the Shadow Fiend to one side with, maybe she gets fortunate and gets like a Harpy or something like that, then it could fall right into the hook of someone like this Pudge.
I don't
That's
think
true. If they get a Harpy, Shadow Fiend actually loses this lane horribly.
That's true. So, I mean, Dendi uses a lot of smokes even if he's behind. He uses like 3 smokes at level 7 and gets a lot of kills. So I don't think it's that big of a deal if Shadow Fiend gets that much free farm in mid. I think...
Producers letting us know that Enchantress's starting armor is actually 0.66.
Thank you.
So it's a
That's
0
pretty low.
if you round it, I guess.
Generally, to say though, it's a scary factor. You have an SF against a Pudge, and if the Pudge gets into your head, that's very scary for you. And it's Dendi. Like you can't take that out of this situation at all.
Yeah, the mental aspect is really important whenever you're playing against Pudge, that he's one of those heroes that just changes the game with you can't trust your usual movement patterns and the way you read. Yeah, the mental aspect is really important whenever you're playing against Pudge, that he's one of those heroes that just changes the game with you can't trust your usual movement patterns and the way you read the map with the vision you have. So that is definitely true. However, one weakness of Pudge in this game compared to a lot of other games, Pudge is generally a pretty good anti-carry where you hook the carry and kill him. He can't kill PL. Doppelganger is fast enough to get away every single time you get hooked. So now we will have to find another way of locking down the PL. And honestly, looking at the heroes, they don't really have anything.
They do not. I mean, Gyrocopter is a decent answer against the PR.
Damage-wise, yes.
Yeah, in the mid-late game. But the way Navi is structuring their kind of draft, you have a Brood Mother is going to pressure early. You have an Enchantress that's supposed to be pressured. Then you have a Night Stalker. First Night is going to be very important here on the side of Navi. As you know, and the roaming duo of Eng, Night Stalker during the first night, how much can they get done? If the Shadow Fiend gets early power treads, I think it's going to be a lot harder for the Pudge. But it really comes down to that, how effective those ganks are going to be.
Looks like Artstyle was planning on heading into the 4 Anchors territory to try to do a bit of that aggressive jungling that we were expecting, but look who's already there to welcome her. Boogie's already on the scene. So with that, Merlini, Hani, it was a pleasure having you on the panel. We'll be seeing you at probably the conclusion of the series. Actually, it's playoff time if you'd like. We would be happy to have you after each game so we can go through the rest of the draft and we can talk a bit about each game as they do go. So with that said, it will leave me over with myself, and Cinderin. Pleasure to be by your side once again, my man.
Yeah, this is the first time we cast together just as a duo. Our first cast ever was like a week and a half ago at the summit, where we had a little bit of a a couch cast with me, you, and I believe Suns fan.
That's
it
correct.
was. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, man. It's looking to be a really good game, as well as Enchantress art style's already in trouble.
They had plenty of time to think about this one. They lay out an early disruption. Man, look at the damage already come out. Then get one more. How? Goosh, they don't get
Still
into
dead.
the blast, but there it is. There's going to be the attack. Ooh. 4 anchors going to be leading in with the first blood. How effective is that going to be on the game? Is that... I wouldn't say it's going to be devastating for Navi whatsoever, but now Arcel has to do that long trip back. Does he now decide to second guess going to the other side of the globe, stick with his own jungle at this point?
I think this is huge because this was the whole momentum-based idea that Navi had from level 1, was that the Enchantress was going to go down and put a lot of pressure. It has now forced Navi to change their plan. They're TPing Night Stalkers at top. Enchantress has to play her own jungle. However, this also means that Brood gets a better matchup. They've swapped around, so Brood is bottom and Kvothe is top on the Gyrocopter against Axe. This Axe is going to struggle a lot. And now it's going to be the whole like cat and mouse lane game where you keep swapping around and try to catch the enemy team off guard by getting the advantage on having the better heroes in the right place at the right time. But for now, I would call this a big deal for FoySC. Enchantress is so momentum-based.
She really is, but look, Boogie trying to be there to slow that roll quite a bit. He is already leeching some of that XP, hanging out nearby. I'm very curious how the bottom lane, though, overall is going to be panning out. Yeah, you don't have to worry too much about that Enchantress being that threat on the side, but in this lane, Coddle, does he really offer a whole lot? Just maybe puts down some sentries to help out a bit. And as that happens, though, there's going to be the rock throw. Boogie now going to get bullied away from the Navi side, but yeah, it's just like play a couple of wards, but you really can't do much else. You don't want to be blasting the lane, then you're taking farm away from PL. I feel like this Broodmother is going to be able to get plenty of XP and just start to get to that level 3 in Soul Ring pretty damn fast.
And she is going to beat this lane ultimately. I think when Brood is level 5, PL is going to struggle a hell of a lot down here. I mean, you can keep giving him mana with Coddle, but you can't keep giving him health.
There we go. Trixie might be in trouble. That early stun, the Shockwave, not going to be doing a whole lot, but he's able to walk on out. There's going to be the disruption regardless, as Boogie does interject, but no blood going to be shed from either side. Just a bit of a threat, but you could see it's more space for Hervos to kind of do as he pleases here. Trixie is going to continue to have to kind of wait on back.
I'm looking to see if Artstyle has any plan with this first smoke. His Mud Golem is going to split in a moment, the first one, and then he has a minute with 2 of those Hurl Boulder abilities on it. It's going to come up right now. So now he actually has 3 boulders, and he's going to smoke, but... Wait, is this just an observer bug? It has to be, right?
Bottom tower
He
is
did
under
smoke right
attack.
on the creeps, but...
Oh, well, now his smoke broke anyway. It looked like only his hero was smoked to me. I don't know.
was.
That must be just a spectator bug.
Yeah, at least from our point of view.
Oh,
it looked like
Phonic!
what's happening here? Phonic going to get caught out and taken down with the Spirit Lance. He had been constantly pressured back a bit. That was not what I was expecting to go down in this lane. Oh, interesting stuff. And if you see
Dire's
Dendi,
bottom
actually
tower
almost
is
already
under
level
attack.
5, so that hook getting leveled up now. He's going to have the range to work with. He's going to put the 3rd point into it here. I don't even know if he's gone for an attempt yet. He has lost quite a bit of mana, so I'm sure he's had a couple of swings, but they seem to have been all misses up to this point.
Phonic is going to port back to the bottom lane after, of course, getting killed off, and he's going to be greeted by a Lance and an Illuminate right away down to half health.
But
Trixie.
here we go. Yeah, they get the pull back. They get the catch on the Shadow Fiend here. The Rot's on out, and they're going to get the kill. Trixie was there to help out, but you could say the same for the other side. So Nico is there to welcome him, and right into the nighttime, it's going to be Navi picking up their first kill.
Yeah, nice rotation there for the top rune. Of course, Night Stalker with that timing window, catching level 3. He got a haste anyway, so I guess it didn't matter all that much, but... Artstyle making use of the Mud Golem, he's going to finally get level 2. So, see, this is what happens. If your first rotation into the enemy jungle does not work, and you get counter-jungled afterwards, he is pretty much behind par. So it was very important for them to get that 1 kill and get him a little bit on the board. Dendi being involved got him almost level 6, so now we're going to see what Hani was talking about. The solo kill potential for Shadow Fiend, very easy when you hit level 6 and get the Dismember up. And Dendi will be buying boots now as well, so having a speed advantage.
Comes in from the north, lays out the early disruption. They followed up with 1 raise. They get some poison damage there, but it's not going to be enough to nearly bring down Dendi. Here comes Soniko and company using that knight. They're going to consider charging on forward, but no, just a little too far and away. Hook, it's going to be coming up short. Maybe if it was level 4, it could have been relatively close, but it will be a swing and a miss nonetheless. So good rotations to mid lane,
Dire's
but
bottom
Navi have
tower
to
is
commit
under
for something
attack.
where they get nothing out of it.
Yeah. How is Trixie doing? So he He didn't die in the gank top when Shadow Demon protected him. He's now level 4 minute 5.5, and Brutus level 5.5. So there's a level advantage for Funnick now that the lanes have been shuffled up a little bit. And I still think Trixie will be fine down here, but he needs to be very careful until he has his Tranquils. And Funnick is controlling him very well. Enchantress is, of course, missing, so I think Trixie concerned about that. Now he is going to be confirming that Enchantress is indeed inside the Radiant jungle at this point, and they're playing it slow and steady. But when you look at a lineup like Navi's that are really looking to create chaos in the early game, I feel like they haven't really managed yet.
No, certainly not. And pretty much this has become Navi's jungle now. So we'll see. Oh, Shadow Demon might be a little too far out, but lucky enough for him, it's an Invis rune. Could have been a lot of trouble as Dendi was looking to sweep on through as well. But because of it, he's going to get denied that rune. Top lane, a little bit of harassment here. Navi, can they get on the bad end of this Matamba man PL? No, he's going to be able to step back here. Went with the early power treads. Is this the kind of a game, Synderen, where you want to be going rush right for the Diffusal Blade on your PL so you can take advantage of, you know, getting on top of someone like the Pudge so he can't really achieve a whole lot? Or do you kind of step off, make sure you get a bit more durability? We've seen other PLs pick up, you know, maybe a Drums first, maybe a good old reliable Yasha. Anything in particular standing out to you as far as where this PL needs to go in this particular game?
I think Manta first is really good in this game. So he can Manta out of the Night Stalker silence. He can just farm more effectively and split push a lot better, which is something Navi would like to not happen. They have split push themselves with the Brood, but their other heroes apart from Gyro really don't deal well with the PL illusions. So if he can get up to that and start farming their jungle and especially push their lane, that would be great. I think if they feel forced to fight, he should get the Diffusal. But if they can get away with it, like if the game stays in this pace, probably the Manta is fine. So Nico, he went in way too far.
He wanted to make a committed dive. They thought they were going to get something after that blast, but unfortunately they're only welcome with the call down from Havost. And with that, he's ended up, well, it's a good grab for them. They push ahead now 3-1. We see that Shadow Fiend's pretty much getting the most out of all three lanes. He'll grab up his power treads here. Yet to see Dendi be able to get something. He's swinging around for it. Will he get the grab? He will. Right behind. It looks like the hitbox a bit big, but now he's going to follow up with the Dismember. Will he be able to finish him off? It's going to be easy peasy. Didn't even need Soniko to really help out in there, but hey,
I think he
XP
did
for Soniko and some XP. Oh, you think you? Okay, well, hold on. Now they move on in. There's
good silence.
Oh, he can't get away. Hook not going to be catching here. Blast will be able to hit him on the back inside. Will they finish him off? Battle Hunger will, and they're going to get that kill.
Yeah, so if the Night Stalker doesn't port and void there, I think Shadow Demon catches up and actually disrupts Dendi. So they did need him, but unfortunately for them, Soniko, once again, over-aggressive a little bit. He made the mistake in the top lane before. He's making the mistake in the mid lane this time, as we do get to see the replay here. And the stat, by the way, that we didn't talk about. Dendi 26-9 on Pudge. Ridiculous win rate. That's actually insane.
Yeah.
So we're going to see here. He's going to dismember Nymphi. Okay, never mind. All right, production.
Action could have been breaking out, so yeah, fault. But I also did notice, you were right, the Shadow Demon was right there almost as the safety net for Shadow Fiend in case something like that happens, but it was a very long pull, and because that Night Stalker was able to rotate in, they get the finishing blow, but Dendi now smoked up on the prowl. Oh, he's going to run right into Boogie here, but there is a quick disruption. Phonics right there, but he's going to be able to make it back to safety. Will the hook be there? Oh, will not, just behind. Dendi not going to be able to catch that one.
Very close. Funnick claims the bottom tower while having his hero elsewhere. Pretty much next to Dendi here in the jungle. So the Spiderlings,
oh man,
taking care of that. Funnick will be getting a very, well, not a very fast Midas, but a fast Midas by the looks of it. As Kvolos taking tons of damage here. I don't know if they can chase him down though.
Yeah, nice
good Centaur
blast. 4 Anchor's really doing good work here in the top lane, but yeah, on the other side, Funnick is almost doing as he pleases, as this Broodmother has just kind of claimed this whole jungle. This is my nest now, accept that. And well, with that tower down the bottom, removes that access point from 4 Anchors here, so if Trixie is caught out too far forward, he really is not going to be able to get much help here, and it looks like Dendi looking to come on in. If he gets the vision, he could dismember, but no, he anticipates that he's going to be up to the north, goes for the blind hook, but is not going to be able to get anything there. So lucky there for Trixie to make that Dendi didn't happen to go south instead.
How many smokes have Navi used? They've used all 3. Oh boy, that's pretty bad news, honestly. I don't know. Is there one on the? No, they're out of smokes for a good 3 minutes, and then they'll have 1, and then they need to wait another 12. So they've used 3 smokes. They've found 2 kills. And this is a big part of Dendi's success on Pudge in general, is that he really puts smokes to good use. Not the case this game.
No, certainly not. Funnick creeping on in. They're looking to play very aggressive with the lineup they got here. And now, look at this. Charging on forward, Dendy runs right in, gets the easy bite, gets the kill. It's actually going to be Funnick who picks up the last hit on that one. And he's going to take this momentum right towards the mid lane, knowing he has the haste. Ooh, that hook, again, coming up just a little bit short.
That was very close in the hook. That was like 100 range, I think.
Would not have had the bite as a follow-up, but, you know, with the rot and, of course, the haste.
Yeah, you would have definitely killed the Shadow Demon there.
Without a
I don't
doubt.
think there's a counterplay.
Well,
What's happening, Mino? I'm hearing a call down. Oh, it's
Yeah.
just the jungle, right? Yeah, so he's going to clear out some stacks here for us. What's his item build going to be? He has Phase and Bracer, so looking for a drum. And the Midas now comes out for Funnick.
some early stackage. You see the, Midas now done here. Is this going to be one of those kind of Necrobook games? Getting up an early Orchid could be a bit devastating to the PL, unless, PL does manage to throw together that Manta, but can be very nicely utilized. Someone like Kyle will need to watch out. Already he's trying to keep his weight away, but look at this. He was able to get the snag, it looks like, and they take Trixie down again. This Axe is being punished over and over again. His jungle had been taken away. He had to rotate lanes. This seems to be quite the struggle for Trixie.
Yeah, they're really shutting down that jungle nicely. The question is if 4ASC should be trying to contest it and get it back, or if Trixie should just play in the enemy jungle. He's willingly going into his own jungle all the time when it's under control, and that obviously means, well, if the Pudge and the Brood are hanging out down there, he could probably look to farm the camps in the top, and maybe he will now that this tier 1 is gone.
Enchantress
it opens
has
up
been
an
there,
access
though.
path.
Enchantress continues to kind of hang around that Navi jungle, so if
She can't really kill an X, though.
I know,
but
but
yeah, if there's a rotation.
they would be able to scout him out, know exactly what's going on, and one quick rotation or a running in Pudge.
Oh, so Nico, natural nighttime kicks in.
Radiant's bottom tower
for them.
is under attack.
Feels like Navi have a good momentum this game, even though the kill score is only 4-4. But at the same moment, PL finding a lot of farm for himself. Back on bottom lane, there's going to be the call down Trixie. Able to sidestep it here, but the flat end hitting a bit. Oh, big rocket barrage does some serious work, but he is able to get off the call. So getting that extra bit of an armor boost helps out. Looks like the rotation TP will be canceled as they deem it not worthy here. But here comes Dendy creeping on in. Suddenly a boogie appears. They drop a ward, but immediately a sentry thereafter, and now it's Dendy who might be in trouble. PL trying to block him, maybe out on the front, gets the block, tries to go instead for the TP, but it's going to get canceled from the disruption. Look at them time out the blast as the follow-up, and they'll get the kill. Dendy, being a bit too adventurous there, runs into trouble and will go down.
I think that is the fastest counter ward in history. He actually, he had no idea. He didn't even see Dendy yet when he planted it. They just planted them simultaneously, and that really sucks for Dendy. He had a killing spree that goes the way of the Coddle. He gets counter-warded immediately, and of course, Dendy would love to play this nighttime with Vision. It's when he has the most ganking potential.
Let's see how fast it was.
Warding replay.
That game sense. Boom, bang, 50 gold, easy.
See, oh wait, oh really?
It was a great block though too, as well.
This is a very good
Right
double ganger play by Matumba.
Yep. And an adventurous kind of a TP, but obviously going to be canceled disruption. So Nico knows there's nothing he can really do about it. They had 4 participating for that kill too. So a lot of attention towards that top lane. And look at this, after Funnick claims that tier 1 bottom lane and a good portion of the jungle, he's actually going to take himself to the top lane now. So Navi moving around quite a bit. I imagine Dendy's still going to continue to try to be all over the place, create that bit of space. So it's going to be Havos who really profits a lot. But we'll see here. Looks like they want to press down this mid lane and go for the tier 1.
Yeah, pushing into Coddle Shadow Demon is a nightmare, though. It's just so good wave clear. This is just not going to happen. And they will give up on it. At least they force a little bit of a rotation from the supports to stand defensively, and of course Funnick is just free farming top meanwhile, but kind of so is Shadow Fiend. So I want to say even all in all. Now, the question is, so PL went for a Morbid Mask. I'm not sure what the build-up is for Matumba, if he wants to go for the Mask of Madness this game, or Vlad's, or neither, just wants to have Morbid Mask. It does, of course, up his farming speed quite a bit going for the Madness. I think Yasha is just as good on PL, if not better, though, just because of the strength of your illusions you actually get when you carry that around.
That's what I heard.
Is there Helm of the Dominator build-up that makes any sense?
Not that I know
I
of.
don't think so.
When I heard from...
Hani thinks it's Vlad's.
Thinks it's Vlad's. Oh, yeah, that is true.
AoE armor against Gyro is good. It allows him to farm the jungle without taking damage, but PL doesn't really need that since illusions can just tank. But
I believe it was a certain Banana Slam Jam I know during the Red Bull Battlegrounds that when he plays PL, which he does like to play frequently, has occasionally from time to time
middle
gone for
tower is
Mask of
under
Madness.
attack.
Not his most optimal build, but he feels like it is a farming accelerator. But I'm with you. I feel like Vlad's could benefit a lot, but here we go. They're going to look to move in. Disruption's going to be there. Timing it out with the Requiem. Denny's in a bit of trouble, trying to go yet again on another Pudge adventure, but he's going to be coming up short, instead handing over a kill. This time it's going to be to the Shadow Fiend top lane, though. At that same moment, they're making it go to Matama Man. They're going to be able to bring him down, but here comes Trixie. Gets off a nice call onto 2, but they're not going to be able to finish anyone off, it looks like. They're going to charge on 4. They got the poison. They got the battle hunger. Is it enough to wither down the Sonika? Well, meanwhile, you're going to see Funnick zoning back the Shadow Demon here. Trixie looking to finish what he started. It looks like he is going to be able to get it, but look at that. Oh, Boogie so close to going down into the blast. They go. They get him right on the back end of it. Oh, blinding light trying to get him back and closer to the laning setup, but Funnick will withstand. Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade, but 4Anchors do lose their PL.
That's a key kill. And Broodmother getting it isn't bad either. That just means Funnick will take over the CS or the net worth lead, I believe. Yes, he is 600 ahead of the Shadow Fiend. Of course, the Midas build-up helping him out quite a bit, and Brood is a hero that kind of needs to play from ahead in order to, at least if you want to play it carry style. I guess we'll get a hint as to whether that's Funnick's plan soon. If he's playing fighting style, the problem is he's a melee core, and playing melee cores against Shadow Demon Axe sucks. There's Call, there's Demonic Purge, and you really don't get to do much. So I actually think, well, it looks like it is going to be a BKB. I'm not sure that's the best build here, to be honest, because as mentioned, they're just going to be able to control him nicely. I would have loved to see a book, as you mentioned. I think that would have been a great pickup. Just play more of a split push and aggressive role in that sense, but
Seems like it's more of a fighting spike.
good centaur stomp from Artstyle. Well, Dendy could try for this hook on Volix, but I think they're scared of the follow-up as Cross doesn't care at least.
Right into a rocket barrage. The call that's going to be there. Matoma Man's going to eat it. Oh, the snag is going to be catching onto Trixie, a big meaty target, but because of that isolation, they do quickly bring him down. Now it's Navi charging on forward, looking here if they can get Matoma Man. They're dropping down the sentries to see if they can finish him off. He gets a good distance, Doppelganger, to step away from the harassment, and it looks like they're going to get close enough to the tower that Navi are going to second guess before overcommitting, but what a beautiful hook from the north side. They're going to get the grab. Nemphy in big trouble here, and he is going to end up going down. Good snag from Funnick, catching him out with that nuke. Ends up being a 2-man drop. Navi lose no one for this, and this is exactly what they needed. Seemed a bit wishy-washy for Navi up to that point. We saw 2-3 different times where Dending was trying to kind of dive on forward, looking for his own bit of a pick, and ended up getting taken down himself, but this time it turns out very well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, this is the opening. So we see the call down here from Hwost, not really catching that much. This hook is what's important. Trixie walking in and taking that. I don't think that was the intention.
No.
Ideally, if you get anyone hooked, it's the PL, or you just let PL just look at the hook and then you doppelganger right when it's about to hit you. But instead, losing Axe right at the start of the fight gives Navi a big advantage. Great Illuminate here is not going to be enough. And Navi, the hook from Dendy from above here, they had no idea he moved up here. Using the homing missile is set up very nicely.
Exactly. That was just almost too convenient right there because of it. And he thinks he's almost going to get away, but that was one of the longest range looking Broodmother nukes I've ever seen. And because of it, they get that precious Shadow Fiend down. So a big grab for them. You now see both Funnick and Hwost taking over the top of the net worth here. And it's just looking like a really good pace for them. And I imagine it's getting pretty dang close to that nighttime here. We'll see if they're going to decide to get pretty dang aggressive. We look over to Trixie. He decided to go with that Vanguard first, trying to build together. He's getting pretty close to his Blink Dagger here. Oh. Could you imagine being in his position? You see that coming your way, and it's like, please, please, no. And he's able to make it out. If he was to go down there, it would have put him off even longer from that Blink Dagger. And, what was that? Just intuition just happens to backstep it away from the hook. Oh, very unfortunate for Dendy to not catch that one.
And that was a smoke. So that's Navi's last smoke for the next 6 minutes. I want to mention that Hwost didn't finish the drum, by the way. He went for Bracer and now going into Sanj and Yasha for his mid-game build-up here. Should be able to finish it off at about minute 20, which is a decent timing for an SNY. Not the best, not the worst, just pretty good. And what else are we looking at for Navi? The Pudge, 2.1k gold on Dendy. I think I guess it's Blink. I mean, if he was contemplating whether it's Blink or Force, you generally make your decision when you're like, okay, now I have 1,000 gold. If I want my Force, I start buying it up just to not lose gold in case I die. And yep, that is definitely going to help them a lot. It's going to make it way easier for him to catch, especially the Axe, who seems to have been the priority target so far. And even especially when Axe gets the Blink, if you can get the jump, you secure that there's no counter-initiate to your team fight when you engage.
Yeah, whether it's a blinking quick rot to prevent something like a blink coming up from the Axe, just an instant dismember to guarantee the lockdown, or of course increasing that precious range of the hook It's all wonderful. So notice that the Coddle, no early investment into the Mana Leak whatsoever, went with the 4-0-4 build-up. He is getting pretty dang close, though, to an Aghanim Scepter. Going a bit greedy in this game, but I guess it's not too hard to farm up on a Coddle as long as you find that opportunity to get that kind of a farm. But really, how effective is the Coddle Aghanim's going to be in this game with that darkness coming out from the Night Stalker? Night Stalker nowhere near his Aghanims. I don't even think he's gotten one component towards it yet.
No, he went for the Midas, so Nico is looking to get an impact in the mid-late game. I think it's the right choice as well. With how the early game went, he needs a way to become relevant later on, especially considering both Enchantress and Pudge generally fall off. Of course, Enchantress, now that Impetus does hit through BKB, can be more relevant, but it's still not the best mid-late gamer as a support. And you even have a Pudge as a core who also doesn't scale that well. So now we need to compensate. They are going to get Roshan here by the looks of it, so that is definitely going to help them quite a bit. Maybe look to siege a tower with this Aegis. They've only claimed one tower minute 21 with an Enchantress Brood lineup. That's a rare sight.
Yeah,
as far as he got two.
One thing I was going to ask is just based on the lineups on paper here, is it more for Na'Vi to try to get a lot done and kind of get this game to a close? Earlier, when you look over at 4 Anchors, they got both the benefit of a PL plus the Shadow Fiend. I feel like they could be a big problem into the later portion of this game. So just based on the aggression that's been coming out from Na'Vi, is it that kind of pressure because they don't want to risk taking this game too long? They have yet to kind of take as many objectives as you would suspect, like you were saying.
I don't know, actually. I feel like if Na'Vi just flat out play for late game with these Midases, they're probably just going to get overpowered in the late game. Axe is such a good late gamer, like you said, both Shadowfiend and PL. Sure, they're behind the Brood and Gyro on farm, but I feel like just Brood, even if Brood is ahead by, let's say most heroes are 20k net worth in the game and Brood is 25, it still doesn't seem to have the same impact as other cores. So game plan-wise, I think 4AC are happy with how it's going now. And let's not forget the wild card, Keeper of the Light. Late game, Blinding Light is an absolute godlike ability with very low cooldown, and of course the miss chance is absolutely huge. He's gonna speaking of him, he is gonna get absolutely eaten by Dendy. Yes.
Yeah.
Got the Mono Leak off though. This should be a stun. They might be able to get him. No, they perched the Night Stalker instead, and Funnick comes in.
There he goes, the big golden spider looking to charge down and chomp away at Trixie here. Obviously, no kill opportunity going to be there. Oh, they try to dish out the dust, but it looks like it is going to be coming up a bit short. Funnick's going to make his way over the mountain and out from trouble. But yeah, I have to agree, because the other thing that could be very nice for 4 Anchors is even if they do, start losing their towers, they're restricted inside their base. I feel like they have pretty solid high ground defense, and Na'Vi maybe not so good sieging capability to go up into the high ground. You're going into a Coddle Blast. You risk getting jumped on from the Axe and the back lines with Spiderlings all out there. Uh-oh, nice setup, blink in hook. They're going to get the quick snag on a Shadow Demon here, so making a bit of damage, but Trixie jumping in from behind here, but he's eating a wealth of damage coming out from Havost. He's going to go down. Timed Requiem, though, on the return. Can they follow it up? Big blast from Coddle. They're going to get Havost down, but that's just his Aegis. Now 4 Anchors need to disperse, or do they? Matama Man comes on forward, dishes out the Spirit Lance. Blinding Light actually pushes him a little further away. Tried to step in for a Mana Leak, I suppose, but you get the hell off my lawn. And it will step them back. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, I feel, to kind of break the tough shell of the 4 Anchors baseline. So Na'Vi need to count on making sure they either get picks, if Dendy has to go fishing to kind of set up one of those picks, and then they can kind of maybe advance on forward with just an advantage in numbers.
I definitely agree. The high ground siege is going to be the tricky part for Na'Vi, no matter how this goes in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Even if they try for a 4-1 where Brood pushes one lane and they have 4 in the other lane, there are multiple heroes that stand well against the Brood Spiderlings. Both the Axe can deal with them, the Shadowfiend can deal with them, and the Coddle. So you have multiple ways of moving around and setting up for your fight the way you desire. As Trixie bottom lane looking for Brood, does not find him. No. Finds a couple of Spiderlings, not what he was looking for.
Funnick just, hey, watch your step there. They're looking for it, even in a blind grab. But oh, Dendy, they get the jump in. Guaranteed bite is going to be there, followed with the nuke, but the mech was there from the Shadow Fiend. Now they're going to dish out the raises. Are they going to be able to bring down Dendy? They will. The disruption to fly out, a self-disruption. Can they still finish him off? They can, but it's still a better trade for 4 Anchors. It would be so much better if they could get this pesky Funnick Broodmother. Can they grab it? They certainly can.
Coddle got the kill. That's Ags.
It is an Ags, and I can tell you firsthand, when you get an Ags, it's like he becomes a whole new hero at that point. Guaranteed to always have that blinding light up and at the ready. You get that taxi service, constant recall, so that means if you're trying to make an advancement on forward and you're like, oh, I'm very, low on mana and HP, an easy TP back to the base and bring back into the battlefield guarantees that your cores can farm on those side lanes and they can always be there when a fight does break out. it's a huge grab. And obviously he can safely put out those Illuminates without risking his own
Now, there's
body.
actually one thing we haven't talked about in this game. I was about to say this is a really good time to get the Axe because daytime just started. But guess who's on the other side?
Night Stalker.
So whenever Na'Vi want to take a team fight, they need to have either natural nighttime or
Dire's
darkness
middle
ready.
tower
Then
is
Caudle
under
can
attack.
never benefit from the heal of his Illuminate, which is a huge part of the Aghanim Scepter upgrade. It is a 500 heal if it's channeled fully to everyone. It's basically a double mech apart from the armor on a 10-second cooldown, which is absolutely ridiculous, but might not be able to use it in this game, Volix. So perhaps he needs to either, I don't know, do they have a mech on their team? They have it on Shadowfiend, obviously, what am I talking about? But
Yeah.
what do you do as Keeper of the Light here? You can't rely on the heal. You're probably going to focus a lot more on, you know, you obviously use the Illuminate probably just aggressively in that case. Instead of focusing on the split heal and damage, you just think of it as a damage ability still, and then a lot more emphasis on casting Blinding Light properly. And it's going to be, when it comes up to level 3, his ultimate, that's going to be a 12-second cooldown Blinding Light. You can cut 4 additional seconds off that with Chakra.
Yeah.
And then you can almost overlap the blinds. It lasts 6 seconds on an 8-second cooldown in that case. It's an absolute incredible team fight ability.
It really is, and it's something I feel a lot of teams can't underestimate is how effective that blinding light can be. And you're right. Darkness is going to take away his capability to dish out that ridiculous amount of heal
And the map control as well.
and the map control, that huge, unobstructed vision he gets, which is so effective when you're working, like, let's say, around the Roche pit and you're trying to get that upper hand advantage. Luckily, though, it doesn't, just remove his spirit form. He still has access to that blinding light, to that kind of recall capability. So you still get a lot out of it, but yeah, certainly as the game goes on, he is not going to be able to get the full benefit of that Aghanim. So we'll have to see where he decides to build on top of that from here on out.
Funnick will be buying a Maelstrom. I have this feeling that he does really not want to buy this item, but they need a solution to PL in addition to Gyro. We're going to reach a position in this game where if Gyro gets jumped on in a team fight, Na'Vi actually have a 0% chance of winning a team fight if they don't have
big
anything else
jump
against him.
in
But Funnick might live here.
He's getting locked in place,
Just kidding.
though. Yeah.
Oh, got a heal off.
Okay. No, that took a lot more sweat than we
Oh,
were anticipating.
pa.
But yeah, good snag there from Denny. Gets the pullback onto Trixie. They're going to be able to finish him off. And now that everything has been expended for that Funnick kill, it's going to be Na'Vi who press on forward and take advantage of what 4 Anchors don't have for the second winded fight. And because of it, they're going to get the snag. And that means it's a 2-for-1 trade. They do lose their Brood, but they get Trixie down in exchange with an additional little support. Good
And
grab.
meanwhile, Matumba is split pushing top, and we're of course going to start seeing 4AFC making more use of recall and just trying to move this PL around the map and be super annoying.
He's keeping the
Radiant's
Morbid Mask as
bottom
just a
tower is
reliable
under
bit of
attack.
leech, and now he's stepping forward for the ulti orb. So Scotty, I imagine, is going to be the stats.
Do you think it's
Needy build-up.
Scotty? I think Manta is still worth it, honestly. I still think that's the best choice. I've seen other PLs go for just Diffusal into Scotty. It just, there's too much merit for me in Mantis down this hero, and I generally find myself disagreeing with players that don't get it at all in PL or don't get it as like the first or second core item. It is just
Dire's
absolutely incredible with his
structures
kit.
are fortified.
So maybe he just needs the extra bit of life and holds
Yes.
the reliable ulti orb instead of just stepping up first for the Yasha instead.
think so,
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough, fair enough.
But we'll see soon, yeah.
Yeah, the Manta, as you were talking about before, does benefit a lot in this kind of game when you got that Night Stalker Silence coming out. And all the slows they already dish on that kind of a team could help mitigate the rocket barrage damage. There's a lot of little things there. So
Yeah, the alternative way of looking at it is, well, what's my biggest opponent? Gyro. How do I counter Gyro? I get armor and health. And then Scotty is a better choice than the Manta, which is good for split pushing, as we talked about, and for disjoining, but doesn't really give you much bang for your buck as far as tankiness goes. So if he is strictly looking to counter Gyro, I think Scotty is the best item. But there are other enemies in the game than just him.
is there? No, yeah, of course there is. So with that, the Aghanim stick now coming out for Night Stalker, and this is, obviously going to be
Dire's
Kyle's
top
worst
tower is
nightmare.
under
I
attack.
do remember, if I do remember correctly, and it could have been 4 Anchors, I believe there was a game where they ran a coddle against a Night Stalker and it didn't turn out too well. Now, not to say that was the lone factor, but we'll have to see if we're going to get a bit of a repeat of past history here. But I feel like this PL continues to get a lot of farm across the map. But I say that and I look at the actual network chart, and maybe it's the fact that he isn't able to participate in as many kills as someone like Havos has been able to, but he's still falling behind as far as the other cores on the other side are. So
Yeah, Na'Vi just seem to be getting more gold per minute. There's got to be an MKB coming out on first right now. They're 10,000 experience ahead as well. And I want to say a really big part of it is just even though they're not there, just the threat is really giving them an advantage. Just the map control they have innately from having Brood and Pudge makes it very difficult for the Radiant side to move out on the map and claim the farm they want. And speaking of map control, they're looking to get a free Roshan as well as... Looks like 4AC have no interest in even trying to go look there right now. Or maybe they do. Trixie? No, that's not the path he's taking. They're recalling the PL, I think. No, who did they recall?
Looks like maybe Shadowfiend.
No one? Yeah, Shadowfiend, okay.
He's brought in, but immediately blinked back. They're going to still get that Aegis nonetheless. The gem now going to be picked up from the Night Stalker, so he's going to be the one with that huge...
Oh, nice body block here from Artstyle with the creep.
Does do that the blinding light to kind of get the hell out of the way so he can walk on out. Navi looking to sweep on through here, but they need this. They're going to be. They need this kind of huge economy boost on their side, especially if they have to break through that high ground defense that we were already talking about before. But still even a tier 1 mid lane for them to take. So clearly still even more gold out there for them to kind of snag up.
Yeah, Quost will be claiming it. He's going to put Glyph off cooldown again, so pushing the tier 2 should become pretty difficult. Keeper of the Light with, of course, the Illuminate and Shadow Poison. And you need to remember, while all this is happening, Matumba is farming. So the reason Navi have been gaining is that they've just been split pushing and split farming as well as getting objectives. Now they're starting to commit their heroes into one spot. And that's where economy becomes crucial. We're going to see the Glyph used, Illuminate, clipping, but not hitting all of the creeps. And now Dendy's has caught on to the fact that, he's going to hook a ball.
They actually disrupt him on the way back.
Oh,
He
nice
puts him to the low ground with the blinding light. So this fight going to be split right down the middle. Both Soniko and Dendy caught on the low ground here, but the high ground, it allows them to kind of finish up what they started on the Coddle. And it looks like 4acres are not going to be able to do anything with what's been bumped to the low ground. So with that, Navi should be able to sweep on forward. If they get this tower, that's 2 towers back to back, plus the Coddle takedown. This is just so much money coming their way, going in their pockets, and this is going to be a very difficult time for 4acres. If they're going to be shoveled back into their base, they're going to be very scared as far as moving out there and finding farm on anyone outside of this PL, and they're just going to be in the dark because of this Night Stalker.
Yeah, Navi don't look to go back here. They have darkness when daytime kicks in about 5 or 6 seconds here. So Nico will just be using that. Blink in from Trixie and a call. Quost has the Aegis, however.
Seeing a lot of damage from the tower and everything.
There's the darkness. And they might just pull back here. They got the tower they came for. They got a bonus kill. They did also lose their top tier 2, however, to PL split push. Was claimed by the Radiant.
That was a quick disruption reaction right there.
Has the mantle. Yeah, if he would have timed it a little bit better, the hook wouldn't even have happened, but...
Unfortunately, it did, and because of it...
It's difficult.
Yeah. Enchantress and your Gyrocopter easily get a hold of this little Coddle, and they can't do anything about Denny and Soniko on the low ground, so they're able to kind of get the kill, follow it up, get the tier 2, try to poke a bit into the base of 4acres here. So it looks like it's going to be a rough time for 4acres here unless they can get this PL. I mean, how much pressure do you feel like this PL, like the weight on his back to try to pull this one on forward? You still also, of course, have the Shadow Fiend, but not very much as far as the damage goes. I mean, he went with the Blink, the Mech, a BKB, very defensive kind of build-up with a little bit of mobility, but the right click, he's only, hoping for just the Necromastery.
How much weight is on PL's shoulders? Quite a lot right now, to be honest. He did go for the Manta build into Diffusal too, so he's definitely, as far as fighting potential goes, if the Flak Cannon is down, he can deal. So we'll definitely be able to, I still feel like the gold is a little bit deceptive when it comes to an actual team fight where even the 10k deficit and 12k deficit on XP all comes down to whether Hvost gets to play his hero well in the fight, gets to get maximum impact out of the Flak Cannon. And as you mentioned, Shadow Fiend, not really the farmiest or the most dangerous of build, rather, for Navi to deal with as far as damage goes, but that is definitely where he's headed next. I think we're going to see probably a Daedalus out of Nymphy or maybe a Butterfly, although there's already that MKB out on Gyro, so probably, yeah, I don't know if Butterfly is worth it this game. MKB is such a good item against the Radiant lineup. 2 natural Butterfly carriers and Shadow Fiend and PL, and of course the Blinding Light.
Yep.
And Gyro doesn't care.
No.
PL going to get spotted. 2 armies against each other. One of them is just waiting.
It does feel like coming into this draft, Navi were prepared. They expected if something like 4acres were going to go for something they'd gone for multiple times in the opening of a Coddle PL. It wasn't that much hesitation to follow up with the Night Stalker, and they just anticipated what was to come and grabbing and itemizing appropriately, like you already talked about. Getting something like your MKB renders a lot of the potential for 4acres I don't want to say useless, but it's going to seem like their options become a lot more limited. Funnick did finish out that Mjolnir build up here on your Broodmother.
Radiant's
Don't
top
see that a whole lot
tower is
often,
under
but
attack.
will help obviously with his own bit of pushing capability. This is just going to be very, very interesting. Navi have not even taken this top tier 1 yet. They're going to be
Radiant's
able to
top
grab it,
tower is
and
under attack.
it looks like they'll just continue to kind of take more map dominance while they can.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And it looks like Dendi, he got the Yules, by the way, and if
Dire's
obviously for people who
bottom
didn't already
tower is
know,
under
you get to
attack.
set up with the Yules. Still means you can hook them out
Dire's
while they're in
structures are
Yules.
fortified.
One of the very few abilities that interacts with it. Funnick is going to try to man-fight Matumba. He's going to regret it very quickly. Not quick enough, though.
Yeah, PL is damn deceptive in that way.
All right, that was not the play for Funnick. Now Navi might actually be a little bit hesitant top because, well, what if they just recall the PL up there and try to take the fight? I think they could have gone away with this tower. As just look at how scared for a CR, but no one's going to get anything apart from the PL getting a pretty big kill. That's actually worth a lot of gold when they're behind like this, and that going onto the PL is definitely a problem for Navi. How much does it say? 900 kill gold for that. Does Funnick have a streak, or is that just... I think what it shows in chat is the actual gain, right? Mm-hmm. So he gained 900 and Funnick lost.
Let's just see how fast
500.
the spider went down. Tried to man fight here, even with Mjolnir on himself. Doesn't, I mean, yeah, it will trigger a lot with all these illusions swarming you here, but clearly not enough. It was just so much going on. You couldn't even see Funnick amongst the mist of death right there. And I don't think he's going to look to make that kind of mistake twice. You got to make sure you are well and prepared. You were talking about it a bit before. With the Manta, and in addition to the Diffusal, he can dish out a big punch. Those are just illusions right there, and they got a good quarter of the life off of even the Havos Gyrocopter.
Gonna recall the PL. Homing missile is still gonna follow him, so Hwost will gain a little more intel here. You're gonna see Boogie, I think, as he is gonna disjoint that with Doppelganger.
Good snag. Now, what about the effectiveness of Dendi as the game does go later? Does it get to a point where he's pretty much just the one to try to get the fight set up? If he's able to get that one quick pick, his lockdown factor is respectable, but if he's in the middle of a fight trying to dish out, you know, his dismember on locking someone down, if it's not the PL, then he risks putting himself out there to the point where he will be badly beaten? Or is it more of when they're able to get to the base of 4 anchors, you just look for him to try to be the fisherman?
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be the fisherman, and he's going to be an aura carrier. After this BKB, it looks like he's building just so he has some sort of sustainability in the fights against the PL, Shadow Fiend, and of course, all of the magical damage really that comes out of 4AC. I'm imagining something like a Vlad's AC build could be great on the Pudge. Going late game, I like to talk about it. Having AoE armor is really almost an integral part of every single late game lineup that you can get into. And Dendi seems like a natural carrier, because what else would you get on the Pudge? You can get an Axe, and it's great if you get to dismember a key target, but against a PL, it's not really realistic. It could be nice against Axe, to be fair. If he manages to fish out the Axe and eat him, that's huge. That is kind of situational, but could work. Or maybe something like a Hex, just so he's utility for his team as well.
Wow. What about even adding more into the aura part of that aspect? Give a Shiva, if he's able to get maybe an AC, let's say.
Shivas could be good as well.
It would
Definitely.
not be too bad.
Great against PL.
Yeah.
AoE slow from the... just the passive part slowing attack speed.
Yeah, works good. PL and even Shadow Fiend there. So with that, Shadow Fiend, he's starting to inch towards that damage department. Gets that Yasha as we see, but gonna need a whole lot more on top of that.
Force Staff on Coddle. Way of dealing with the hook.
Good for burning more mana, let's say. Get on that mana leak. You Blinding Light and Force Staff, and they've probably lost a huge chunk of that precious blue bar. And a Satanic.
And now he's definitely sustainable in these fights. Gives a lot of health and, of course, the ability to trigger that. What is it called? Is Unholy Rage? Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I ever hear anyone call it by that. The Unholy Rage was used!
It's a nice name, though.
It
sounds
pretty,
good.
It's pretty badass.
Well, this is the third Roshan in a row for Navi. We talked about it pre-game. Do they like Dire for Roshan? They seem to not pick lineups that are very good at taking Roshan. This one isn't particularly great either. Untouchable is great for tanking him, but damage-wise not amazing. Still pretty good. And well, they have got the map control the whole game, so we'll be grabbing it again. The cheese this time going on to Brood? Yeah, and Aegis on Gyro. Pudge is a good cheese carrier, though. I wouldn't mind seeing Dendi getting it over Funnick, since he can really benefit a lot from the heal.
is in the aspect that he can kind of jump it, throwing himself out there, get off a big bite. He'll eat a bit of damage, but he's able to step away. He could just kind of eat the cheese and re-engage.
He just has a very high health pool, so he can get the full effect out of the 2,500 healing, but he actually has a lot of health too. He has more than I thought he did, 1,900 sitting on the Broodmother, so he's a good choice as well. We saw it. Well, it's time for Navi to go for the push.
But we'll see. We were
almost got
already
the
talking
tower.
about- Yeah. Is the high ground defense strong enough here with the Shadow Demon continue dishing out maybe the poison, the Illuminates as we already saw, flying on out? We'll see if Navi are going to be able to kind of crack the 4 Anchors code here and make their way into the base. It's going to be
no pipe on Navi.
no.
Very good item against the Caudal when it comes to sieging. Maybe Dendi should have considered that over Yules, actually.
Yeah, there's the darkness right as daytime does come out, and because of that they'll get that unobstructed vision. They will be able to easily get the intel seeing over the base wall. It's what 4 Anchors are exactly doing, but they're corralled like sheep at this point, and it's not going to be easy for them to come out. We'll have to see if Navi do overextend. Could be one stepping stone for 4 Anchors to try to run themselves right back into this game. But there we go. There's the jump in. They're going to be able to get the tier 3. He gets the call and forced back so he can try to draw Havos deeper inside the base if possible. He gets mana leak, so as he does run out, he loses all that precious mana, and he's going to get finished off. So the Aegis is going to be down. Now the Yules. Oh! They catch Trixie, maybe even bodyguarding that hook right there. He is going to get caught with Dismember, but the disruption does come out. Big Requiem to fly, but
Havos taking so much
but the
damage!
blast. Oh, he is very low, but he is on the retreat to step away. They're going to end up bringing down the Enchantress. Looks like Dendi could be going down next. This is Matama Man's time. He charges up forward. Can they finish up? They can get Dendi before he's TPing away. Make it a double kill as they get Phonic. And now they're going to grab Soniko. This is the defense that 4 Anchors asked for. What happened with Havos there at the end? He was eating so much of the damage. He was walking on out. Obviously his Aegis was brought down there with the jump in raise plus the Illuminate, but I wasn't expecting him to get so much. He was punished.
That was the Flak Cannon timing window. I think he had used his Flak Cannon already. It was on cooldown, and there were 3 or 4 PL illusions running him down, and no one from Navi can help him. That's the problem that I talked about earlier, where, well, when Flak Cannon is down, if PL manages to stay healthy throughout all of that and just get one doppelganger off and just send those illusions, or even the Manta illusion to Vost, he is going to have a problem, and he really tanked a hell of a lot there. That's a big hold for 4 Anchors. They get what looks to be 6,000 or 7,000 experience and a couple thousand gold with this tier 2, as well as the split push top from Matumba. Man, he's going to get another big item for the next fight, probably.
I mean, Havos, it was pretty much like a Spirit Lance and just some harassment from Matumba that brought him so low. I love the blink block of the hook coming out from Trixie, and because he got the disruption save, the Dismember didn't even do a whole lot. So at that point, after Pudge commits out his hook and his Dismember, he doesn't really offer a whole lot except walking around and, well, farting all over the places with his rot. So it's kind of easy to just take advantage of him at that point. And yeah, maybe between the Flak Cannon timing and Phonic not being able to utilize a whole lot, it got a bit flustered for him. Havos was forced to retreat as he was just already so badly beaten, and that turned out very, very nice for 4 Anchors.
Vost, speaking of him, he grabs his next item, the Satanic. Now, what's scary about playing against illusion-based carries with Satanic is that you can't lifesteal off of illusions. So if he pops Satanic and he doesn't find the right target when he does that, it's actually going to be useless. So he needs to be very careful, either knowing where the right PL is and knowing that he doesn't have Doppelganger ready, because then he basically wastes the duration of the Unholy Rage, or simply just having another target to hit. And it is a core item on Gyro in general, but he needs it. He really does need it, but it's difficult to play.
Oh, I like
also
that.
can't leech off the Manta Illus of Shadow Fiend either. So he can, if he gets confused in the fight, that item's not going to be worth so much.
We'll see.
Art style? That is not a raise.
No,
that's
not,
a raise.
but those are raises right there. So he ends up getting a little bit of venison with that one. Uh-oh. Call down to come out. Uh-oh. Havos, that wasn't your time to fight. And the hook is just the carcass of the dead body of a... Oh, no. With that, they're going to lose too. And with a tier 2 dropping, 4 Anchors... Seems like this is their time. Cinderin.
Kvost has to buy back. They can triple Rex in 80 seconds. There's the buyback from the Gyro. And I think we saw it there. He used Satanic. He couldn't find the right target. He healed nothing that whole fight. I'm pretty sure.
Blast flying in. They're going to be able to get that D ward. Maybe a bit ambitious with putting down the Hom so early, hoping that they could guarantee at least a tier 3 drop, but that's not the case. Dendi able to finish out the BKB. He'd been working on that for quite a while. Finally able to grab it. And it does cost their buyback on their precious gyrocopter. 4 anchors step back from that moment. And this is the part of the game where we might be able to see a lot of tension around the Roche pit. It's probably going to be coming up here soon. Both sides would really love to get it, especially Navi, I'd imagine, at this point.
I have a feeling 4ASC want to fight for it this time.
Yeah.
I think now they've got enough of a grip on the game and they've got enough farm on especially the PL to actually be able to just fight Navi around the pit area. I also want to point out how, as you call it, the taxi service, how useful it is, just being able to, whenever they're pushing, they force the buyback of Gyro. Okay, it's not just you back out, you just teleport one hero top, he starts pushing out the lane. It was Trixie in this case on the Axe, they can always just recall him back. And for that reason, Navi, seeing a hero defending a lane doesn't give them valuable information. Or, well, it is valuable, but not as valuable as in other games. Just like, okay, this hero is top, he TP'd up there, now we can move out. You just never have that sense, that feeling of safety when it comes to late game situations. Kind of similar, but in a way similar, but in a way completely different to what Pudge does, where the game just changes when Pudge is off the map, you don't know where you can go. When Coddle is in the game, you still can't read the map the same way with players just being on multiple lanes at the same time. Recall has a very low cooldown, by the way. It's only 15 seconds, and again, if he chakras before that, it's 11. So they can really just split push to their heart's content for the rest of the game.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely a big headache for Navi. And if you look at their lineup, how can they really deal with a lot of split push? Enchantress, it's not going to be easy for, I'd imagine. Obviously, Gyrocopter, it's good. Dendi will try to just use his own fatness to try to just brute force them down a bit. Night Stalker, not the best at being able to farm out huge waves of creeps, and it could prove to be a bit difficult. This could be the big swing for 4 anchors to just kind of take the map right back and pressure Navi from all fronts.
I think they've overcome the hardest part of the game.
Yeah.
Now, that one push was the one they needed to beat, and they did. Now Navi has a 2k gold lead. I still think that puts 4ASC at a massive advantage. 5,000 on the experience is also irrelevant. If you look at the value of the gold as it is distributed, you've got a 12k net worth Pudge, who I personally feel like in most situations is less valuable than a 12k Coddle. The Shadow Demon being poor doesn't matter, and Enchantress having a net worth of 7.4 is also really pretty irrelevant. And how good is your 20k Brood? I still haven't felt him in the fights.
Oh, so Nico.
This could be big. They're going to recall.
Oh, if they damage him, though, he's not going to be able to get that recall. Oh. They almost got him.
They found Trixie, though.
Yeah, he's going to be the one left behind here, and really this is just going to be a long-winded kill at this point. There's the Yules, a BKB coming up from Dendi. They do get the bite, and they'll slowly wither him down, but it is an Axe after all, so it's going to take a bit of effort. Finally, they're going to get a bit more help coming out from Enchantress, and certainly Havos there, so they'll get their kill. Not as precious as being able to grab that PL, but while they're all stuck at that top lane, they're putting their attention towards the Roche pit now. Unfortunately, it's going to be about another minute's time before it is up, but this is something we preemptively were talking about, you know, in the early portion of this game was, you know, was there a time clock on Navi's lineup? If it got to the late game, would 4 anchors be able to withstand? When they pushed on in, how strong would the high ground defense be for 4 anchors? And if they were able to hold that high ground defense, is it going to be their game to take back? And that storyline seems to be developing here right before our eyes. So we'll have to see what the actual conclusion is going to be. More items are coming out, however, even a butterfly for Phonic on his Broodmaw.
Yeah, that's Butterfly City. They got one on PL at the exact same time, actually.
Butterfly City. That sounds like a wonderful place to go to.
Yeah. They obviously have the MKB on Gyro. They've had it for a while, but it seems like Matumba isn't too concerned about that. Obviously, Butterfly still gives a lot of armor. The attack speed is great, and obviously agility and damage is always great, but evasion part of it, not so useful against the Gyrocopter, who is his main threat. I think, to an extent, Scotty might have been a better choice still, but honestly, judging from how the fights have been going for Matumba, maybe he doesn't need the evasion.
Maybe not.
There's a Roche.
What's up? Scouted obviously here from Navi. They want it.
So Nico's in a very good position to cover this area.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of information with his Ags right now, but they're smoked, so maybe not so much.
It's popped. Are they going to go for the quick pick on the Night Stalker?
They're going to recall.
Nope. And Mataman's here. He's going to
Oh, this is the fight.
Can they do it? Mana Leak starts out on Arcel, but they're going to charge on forward. They're looking to go for the Gyrocopter. A jump in Requiem not going to be coming off because Dendi gets it canceled from the Dismember. Blaster flying on through. This time the Requiem will go off. It's Gyrocopter goes down first. Then they get the Night Stalker. It's 4 Anchors who are doing it. They're able to quickly wipe out 3, and now they're going to be taking the Roche. Cinderin, it looks like 4 Anchors are going to be able to do it this time. And I don't think there's going to be much to stop him. Dendi, oh, he tries to go for a hook, but look who's already there at his back, tapping on his shoulders. It's Trixie with the Axe. They're going to get the call up. Dendi's going to go down. It's 4 down on the side of Na'Vi. 4 anchors only lose their Shadow Demon, and now they move on in. There is no buyback for Havos. He still has 85 seconds time. Dendy's out for a minute, no buyback. This is crazy right now. 4 anchors are going to be taking this game.
Yeah, they're even going to get Arts down the end here, just chasing him down with Blink Battle Hunger from Trixie.
There they
Yeah,
go.
this has got to be game. 70 seconds on Jara, 50 on Pudge, 60 on Enchantress. They will get 3 lanes here.
Dire's bottom tower
Absolutely.
is under
Bottom
attack.
tower goes down, mid tower goes down.
That's
Dire's
GG.
bottom tower has fallen.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
wow. Butterfly City. This is just crazy. I mean, it was very well played. You could tell that the lineup that Navi got, it just felt like they were anticipating to have a big mid-game performance. Dendy would be doing his Dendy of old Pudge things, you know, being able to grab continuous kills, relieve the pressure away, forced to be that kind of a headache for 4 anchors, and meanwhile Havos would just be farming, and he'd be able to peak at that point where they'd really push on into the base and take what they wanted. But because of maybe the strong defense that 4 anchors had, holding their high ground, maybe